All right, everyone, I've got 5 p.m. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you will, please join me in the invocation and the pledge. Gracious Heavenly Father, we're thankful to be here today and to call on your name. We just ask you to just look down on us and guide us and protect us and give us wisdom in all the decisions that we make here tonight. Just ask your special hand of protection over our county, the citizens we serve, our first responders, and our military. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. We've got several opportunities for you to participate with us. We've got a citizens to be heard at the beginning, another at the end. You can speak on either of those items at your choice. You can also speak on each individual agenda item. If you will, just fill out a speaker card with Miss Jessica. And when you come up, give us your name and your address. Folks are watching on the cameras at home, so speak clearly in the microphone so they can hear everything you have to say. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second. Just one note, no changes to the agenda, but the tab 32, which is on consent, you did get a supplemental revised covenant.
I'd like to pull number 7 from consent.
Pull number 7. Do our motion and our second reflect those changes?
Yes.
7 will be.
Yes.
All right. Hearing nothing else, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimous. Citizens to be heard. We'll start out with David Berry. Come on down, sir.
How y'all doing today?
Good.
My name is David Berry. This is my wife, Vicki. I want to tell you a story. 3.5 years ago, we entered into a SHIP program to try to get a house much needed built. It backfired in our face, and now we're looking at losing our property. We need you to intervene in a positive way, and we're asking you today, please intervene and help us save our property instead of losing our property and build the house that we were supposed to have built 3.5 years ago. We're in dire shape. We have a well backing up. We have a septic tank that's backing up. We're drinking bottled water, and we can't even hardly take a shower half the time because the water's backing up. This injustice came against us. We didn't ask for it, and we're just asking you for your help, for you to intervene in a positive way.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No more citizens to be heard. No awards and presentation tonight. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion to approve. Second. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimous. Chuck, we'll go to item number 7.
So this was, in April, we have 5 Mondays, and the schedule is 1st and 3rd, and I'd like to change it to 1st and 4th, just for the April month. I have something I'd like to do in the beginning, and I'd like to have the time to do it.
There you go. Works for me if it's good with everyone else. Good with me?
Good with me?
Good with me.
All right. So we need that as a motion. Take a motion. Got a second? Second. Any citizens want to speak on that? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimous. Okay, that'll take us to general business, item number 24.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this agenda item requests board approval of the nonprofit funding agreements for FY 2023-24. Those are listed in the agenda item as per the administrative regulations that was 3.07.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any citizens? Discussion from the board? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimous. General business item number 25.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request for the board's acceptance of the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee 2023 Incentives and Recommendations Annual Report. This report is required by statute for all communities receiving SHIP funding. This is a statutory requirement. There are 11 incentives in the statute that the committee is required to review and make recommendations to the board. These recommendations are before you this evening. The board can choose to pick any or all of these recommendations and direct staff to implement them. Tonight, we're asking for your approval to accept this report and any directions you have regarding these recommendations.
Motion to accept the report and to use 1, 3, 9, 10, and 12, please.
Second. So you're skipping 5.
I'm skipping 5.
Yeah. Very good. So we got a motion, we have a second. Any citizens
This
on
right here
that?
is going to cause a code change.
Further discussion?
I didn't like 5.
Okay. Being clear with what I said?
1, 3, 5.
No.
1, 3, 9,
10,
and
and
12.
Any further discussion? Yes, sir. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimous. That ends our general business. We'll go to public hearings, item number 26.
Item number 26 is a request for the board's approval to conduct the public hearing and accept public comments pertaining to the Mash Island Land Management Plan. As the board may be aware, the staff has contracted with Dewberry to assist in the development and updating of the new Mash Island Park Land Management Plan as required by the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. Justin Ford is here this evening, and he will give you a brief presentation on the development of this plan before we ask to open the floor to public comment.
Good evening. Justin Ford with Dewberry, and we will try to keep this as brief as possible, but I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. So in the early 80s, the state of Florida acquired the property that's in question tonight, and I'll show you a map here on in the next slide. Acquired the property, and that same year, the Wakulla County Board of County Commissioners entered into a long-term maintenance agreement or management agreement with DEP. With that management agreement, per Florida statute, the county has to prepare a land management plan every 10 years and submit to the state to basically tell them how we're going to utilize the property, maintain the property, and, if there are any substantial improvements that we're proposing. Go to the next slide. So, as we discussed, this is the location map of the property, everything that's bordered in red there. It's just under 250 acres in all. It's primarily, as you can see, on the north side of Mashes Sands Road, and some of the amenities that are there. This includes the footprint of where your boat ramp is, the pier, the Mashes Sands public beach access. All that's within the footprint of this. So all those amenities are embedded and are part of our land management plan. Go to the next one. This is just the same map with an aerial if it helps you orient yourself at all. So the requirements for the plan it is your plan ultimately. We can put in there whatever you so choose. Ultimately, it does have to go to DEP and they have to agree to it. But DEP does give us an outline of items that we have to address one way or the other. Now, it's up to us to address them in the way that we see fit. But there's 68 items in that checklist, and those, if you read the report or if you've had the chance to go through it, it's numbered 1 through 68. So every item in that addresses a point in that checklist. So it's very structured in how we have to do it. And it's a combination, what's in there is a combination of desktop reviews and field reviews and then meetings with staff and stakeholders. You can go ahead. This is just a sample of one of the maps that's in the plan. This is actually the natural community classifications. It shows where your beach dunes, your salt marshes, etc., are, uplands, whatever it may be. But these are, again, all items that we have to include. You can go ahead. So some sample language. Again, the plan consists of goals and objectives, and we outline, how we're going to meet these certain things. And I just wanted to give you some idea of some of the goals and language that were in there. So 44B, there's a goal in there about standard forestry and prescribed fire management techniques, and that's something that the state wants to see. And that one's pretty straightforward, but some other ones, and the reason I wanted to point these out in 45C, this is specifically talking about shorebird surveys. It says monthly surveying would begin in March and conclude in August, and there's more to that. But at the very end, we state this objective depends entirely on volunteer scientists. Same as in 61E, that goal is dependent on local and grant funding availability. So there's some things that we say, hey, we're going to do this, but then we have the caveat in there, if we have the funds, if the funds are available, or if we have these volunteers that are willing to help participate in this. We did that strategically, not to pigeonhole the county into a position where you had to go spend money on this. Now, if we can, if it's available and we're able to, we want to do it. But we're not absolutely pigeonholed to do those things. So, next steps. We've already, obviously we've drafted the plan at this point. We've met twice with an advisory group. We've taken their input and incorporated it the best way we can. Here tonight, we're trying to, we're here to accept public comments and any comments from the board. And following this meeting, and it has been posted online, and there's an online portal to receive comments to, I think at the time that the agenda item was written, there were no comments. At this point, we've received 2 online. We'll go back from this point and incorporate the comments that we've received tonight and those ones that we received online, incorporate those into the draft plan, and ultimately that draft plan goes to DEP for review. DEP is going to review this, make any comments that they have, we'll address their comments, and the plan will finally come back to the board one last time for final acceptance and adoption. And then the final product will go back to DEP to be on file. So with that's, again, a very general overview of where we are. It took quite a bit of work to get to this point, but I'll try to answer any questions that you may have, and certainly from the public if that's what we need to do.
What was the 2 comments that you did have?
I know one was, so when I say 2 comments, one was like a 5-part comment. It asked about some shorebirds and some grant funding for that, and dune protection, I believe, and there are a handful of comments like integrated into the one overall, and I forget the first one. It was a week and a half or so ago when we got it. I don't remember it off the top of my head. I've got it saved on my.
And I know we talked about with David earlier about the Master Sands Pier, what the holdup is on that. Mm-hmm. Do you explain that again so the public, because I know some of the people in here want to know what the holdup was.
Sure.
It's not us, so
absolutely.
Make sure that gets explained to the public so they will know that.
So that's FEMA funded. I mean, it was damaged by the storm. The county requested FEMA assistance to make those repairs. We went through that whole process, jumped through all the hoops. FEMA approved it, and as you all are aware, we were under construction. FEMA identified some step that they had missed in their process and came to us and said, hey, we need you to stop. If you don't stop, it could jeopardize the reimbursement altogether. So it's in your best interest to stop. So we put the brakes on it. And we thought it was going to be a 2 or 3 month turnaround. And here we are a year and a half later. I think it was April of 22 when they stopped us. And I was asked earlier, when are we going to be able to start again? Well, then again, we thought it was going to be a 3 or 4 month stop. Every time we turn around, we give FEMA what they asked for. And it just generates another question and another question and another question. We answered one last week.
And we actually also have, Justin, we also hired a company to help us to be the go-between that deals with FEMA on these issues. So it's not just us. We have the engineers as well as a consulting team.
That's right. And so I do think we've cleared, so FEMA reevaluated that project from the ground up, from the financial viability, if it met benefit cost analysis, the historical resource impact, the environmental impacts, from every level. And we are at the end of that process, we think. We thought we were pretty close 4 months ago, but.
And we're going to get more funding because the bid was for 5 years ago, so we'll get more funding.
Right.
Because prices have changed 5 years later.
So initially, I think it was about $2.7 million is what they were giving us. It's over $4 million now is what they have reevaluated and approved for the county to spend on it. So it will be an improved project. with a concrete pier out over the water to, mitigate future damage to that portion of the pier. The portion over the land's a little easier to get to and make repairs to if needed, but the portion over the water is what we really wanted to protect. So,
I've had a lot of people say, well, why don't y'all just do it without FEMA? $4 million.
Yes.
That's why,
We don't have that, in our back pocket.
That's what they've asked me to, that and putting jetties in just right out of pocket. That's a huge,
we just can't afford it.
the Woolly Park and Mash's Sands, they started at the same time. Well, they checked all the boxes on Woolly Park, and you can see we finished it, and it's turned out great. For whatever reason, they missed something on Mash's, and it's just thrown a wrench in the whole thing, so.
And it's basically the same design for both?
No, so the through-flow decking, that composite decking that you see on Woolly Park, that will be the decking that will be on all the portions over land on Mash's. But once you get to the water's edge where it 90s back and goes out perpendicular to the beach, all that will be concrete piles, concrete decking.
With a section of flow through in the middle.
Right, there is one strip of the through flow to allow for any uplift force to blow through, but it'll be a very robust pier when it's all said and done.
We still don't have a time frame right now on that.
If I told you one, I'd be guessing.
We wouldn't be telling the truth if we told you.
All right, thank you.
Did you get the answer about the marshlands and whether we have to protect it from fire?
So it is still privately owned. DEP claims that they have jurisdiction over it and they don't have any intention of acquiring it. And they seem to think that there's no issue. Now, I have not spoken to the family to know otherwise. We can certainly, Summer actually mentioned that to me earlier, and we can make a point to speak to the family. We thought we had it resolved in getting that confirmation from DEP, and then we kind of second guessed that a little bit.
You need to get an answer on that before we move forward.
Sure.
Before we move forward tonight?
No.
Oh, okay.
Was this? Never near.
Additional questions, comments?
No, sir.
Have any public? No public comments? I think Mr. Joe wanted to speak, didn't you, Mr. Joe?
I did.
He wants, you gotta come out and speak,
Come on
but
out, sir.
fill out a card, Mr. Joe. If you don't mind, go ahead and speak, and then you can fill it out when you're done.
All right, I'm Joe DeLuca from 63 Sunrise Lane, and I moved there in 2018. And I've been noticing since I moved into Tallahassee in 74, how nice you guys have kept up Shell Point Beach. Unfortunately, that's not the case where I live. And I had some email conversations with David, and one of the things I brought up was all the money that has been spent there and not on Masher Sands. When he said, in fact, you spent more, I suggested you fire the guy who spent the money at Masher Sands, hire the guy who did Shell Point, and let him come and help us out. To date, since the hurricane, we've lost most of our beach. We're now losing our dune. Now, the pictures, aerial pictures that you sent, where it shows where the edge of the beach is and the beach continues out, all of that's gone. So that's now water. On a high tide, there is no beach to walk. You have to walk the dune, which you're not supposed to walk the dune. That would be to the north. To the south, we have trees that as the trees grow out, they also grow down. They're this tall out of the water. That's how far it's eroded. And on would be the south side, it is eroded so far back that it is just a jungle of roots that have been exposed. Where I was telling Mike, where the old bathrooms were, that land is gone. Now there's just an eruption of big chunks of concrete that have now been uncovered since they obviously buried it, thinking it would never be seen again, but it is. Now it's a mess. I mean, and it's horribly ugly, and it's not going to get people to come to our beach the way it looks now. And I have noticed that over the summer, we had a minimum amount of people compared to what was there before. Also, on the I would say it's the south side of the boat ramp. No, the west side of the boat ramp. In the woods, there is a large amount of the old pier. Been there since 2018. I've asked Mr. Edwards what the plans were to get rid of it because these three folks and myself live directly facing that piece of body of land. So if I get a big storm and it comes and takes all that stuff, it took it from the pier to where it is now. So we have, no idea where it would go with another direct hit. Where it's going to go is our three houses, which are all together. So it's a hazard. Earl pulled out some of it that he could with what minor tools he had. I asked Mr. Edwards what the plan was to get this out of there since it's been there for 5 years. My answer was no plan. So not only are we losing our beach, we're not even getting it restored back to what it was originally. You did a great job, the Dewberrys, if they did it all, they did a great job on Shell Point. It's a beautiful $750,000 ramp, a boat ramp with a 6-foot black chain link fence around it, nice little cement runners to run your truck and your boat trailer on, vegetation, a brand new repaved road that you spent $78,000.
Bring it into a close.
Excuse me?
If you could bring it into a close, sir. You're
Really?
past your time, but I'm giving you extra time.
Well, I've got three other people here that can tell you exactly what I'm going to tell you.
And speak as well. Yes, sir. But we do get your point. Well heard.
Okay, so then my question is, what's your plan?
Well, we have to figure that out. We're not gonna make a plan right now on the spot. But we'll look into
Here, and
it.
since 2018, when do you
I
think
actually
it would
didn't know,
prime?
I didn't know about the pier still, or the dock still being there. I mean, it seems like that's something that ought to be easy for us to clean up.
Mr. Edwards knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the woods back in there. One day we'll get it some point.
At some point,
Yep.
it's been 5 years, ladies and gentlemen, 5 years.
Yes, sir.
How about repaving our road? Give us $78,000 to repave ours and put traffic calming devices in it like you did for Shell Point. Wouldn't that be fair?
Well, it's not a competition. We try to balance everything. We never have enough money to go around for everything that needs to be done. So it's all a matter of trying to find the best bang for the buck.
One of the main things that I told Mr. Edwards during these emails that I sent him was, it's not a surprise that price per square foot on Shell Point demands more than what we do with Masha Sands. Even though we're all canals, we're within miles of each other, but they get more money per square foot than we get. Why is that? And he said, we don't have anything to do with the real estate values. Well, in fact, you do.
Well, we
spend millions of dollars on Shell Point and nothing on Masha Sands, and Shell Point looks like a beautiful model community, and we look like the day after the apocalypse.
Your point is very well taken, but please understand that boat ramp is probably one of the best boat ramps anywhere in North Florida. That's state money. That all came as a legislative appropriation through Representative Halsey Beshears, and then the beach renourishment was also grant money. So
Okay.
a lot of that is.
All right, here's my final comment. Your piece of land between our canal and your canal is eroding into our canal. Now, I'm looking at the trees, the palm trees across the waterway from mine, that even at the highest tide, water didn't infringe on those trees. They're underwater at high tide now. One of them has already fallen over. Your mud is coming into our canal, so what's the plan for that? I've already asked, you surveyed my canal.
That's a constant battle. That ocean is a mean, no one can control that.
It doesn't happen in Shell.
As I have told you,
Put a seawall up around there. We don't have a seawall. We should, but we don't. We have one on our side. You don't have one on your side. Our side's not eroding into the canal. Yours is.
yes, sir.
So you need to do something about your side of the canal and to take your sand out of our canal and put it wherever you want. But don't leave it in our canal.
So we have a 3-minute time limit. I've probably given you 10 or more, I'm sure. But I do respect what you're saying, and we hear it. We acknowledge that, and we know we got a lot more work to do. We always do.
Well, let's just start.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your time. All righty. Doc, you want to talk?
Actually, I asked about grants and whatnot, and what could be done down the Mansion Sands. I was told that individuals cannot apply for grants, the county has to, or government agencies. And if there were grants from the oil spill for Shell Point and all such as that, I know there was a study done quite a few years ago on erosion control down there that wasn't followed through with at Mansion Sands. Is a company out of Destin, I can't remember the name. I want grants sought for Mansion Sands. Why are they sought for Shell Point? You know, for all the erosion and rebuilding the beach and putting remediation to prevent further erosion. I mean, you know, out of the oil spill, there was nothing spent on Mansion Sands. There were no grants sought. I guess, and then, like Joe says, I think it'd be a DEP problem for all the dirt that's coming in the canal from the county's property. Because you can look at aerial photographs, you can look at it at low tide, it's all slurping in from that side. And, you know, even at the road construction, they had to put up the little erosion silt fences, you know, and there's nothing there. You know, there's no riprap. Another thing, the boat ramp canal. You see the boats coming in there at full throttle, which causes more dirt to wash into the boat ramp canal and close it in. You know, there should be a no wake zone there. You shouldn't be going in there at full throttle. I guess that's about it, because I wasn't prepared for much more.
Yes, sir, if you will.
We hear you.
Speaker card. Yes, sir. Good point. Okay. Anyone else want to speak on that, folks? Give us your name and address, please, sir.
Yes. My name is Viorel Espas, and it's 57 Sunrise Lane, neighborhood.
Welcome.
In a way, I just want to second the points the gentleman before me made. Right in front of our house that we bought the property, we can see that sand and whatever it's coming off the berm over there. And also as we come out, if we take the boat on the canal, I can see that it's getting, the place that we can get out is getting basically narrower and narrower.
Yes,
So that will be something that, and also we can see the vegetation, the birds and everything, but I can understand that even that will be affected as the grass and everything was probably going to be more in the water. So, and the same with the beach. We saw just after this storm, we just noticed today, as we're walking, that basically there is no more beach, it's in the grasses. And when the water brings something and deposits it, right now it's in the grass. So, that'll be the, yeah.
Thank you, sir. If you will, please fill out a speaker card. Anyone else on that issue? All righty,
Mr. Chair, may I ask some more questions?
please.
With regard to the difference in the confusion, and that's probably not the correct word to use, but Shell Point, Masha Sands, money that's spent there, those different pots of money mean what? That's the way that they can be spent.
That's correct. So the NERDA funding, Natural Resource Disaster Assessment funding, was approved in 2013 for the Masha Sands boat ramp area. This included docks, parking area, kayak launch, pedestrian paths, improved parking. That was from NERDA funding. That project was completed in 2019. There was previously some funding requests through the same program for beach renourishment, but that funding was denied. That same funding was used for the improvements at Shell Point Beach, and I apologize, I don't remember the date of that, but it was in and around that same time, maybe just before this at Masha Sands was done. So it all came from the same funding pot. The county did try to do beach renourishment, but was denied. I apologize, I don't have the details of that grant application this evening, but
that information is available, that we can get into more details on that.
absolutely.
Have we reached out for any more grants for beach refunding?
It's all important when they come up, yes, we will, but as I said, they're few and far between, and we just don't have enough beach line. And the problem is there's the Ochlockonee Bay River, the Ochlockonee River has shifted, it's shifted north, and that's causing a lot of the erosion, and there's just limited things that we can do in that environment, and all the fixes there are very, very expensive. There is not a easy.
Well, I asked some folks, and just so y'all know, I asked some folks about Masha Sands Beach. And one of the main things I kept getting from some folks who do that kind of work is you need a jetty. And according to everything that I've been told about a jetty, extremely expensive.
Well, the problem is just like the study that we referred to earlier, in order to keep it from washing out, there were some drawings that were put in. The problem that you have is you got an effect. You'll always, if you put a jetty in, there's going to be an effect on one side, and there's going to be the opposite effect on the other.
Okay.
So you just can't go in and plop in a jetty out there. You've got to calculate what that'll be, and then you got to run it out. Meaning you got to put one here, but then you got to run it down that shoreline. I did this in North Carolina, so we were on the cutting edge of it, and you can't just put one and stop. You got to continue, because what will happen on this side, builds up, cuts off, builds up, cuts off. And it's that all the way down, so you got to take it on down. So it's not just a one and done deal with any type of jetty, because anytime you put anything within the natural flow of nature, it's going to have one effect or the other on the other side. If you watch anything you put out there, you can take a log and just stick it straight out in the water, on the floor, on the ground, and you watch it. And sure enough, after a while, one side will build up, the other side will come off. So that's the point is it's very, very dangerous for us to put anything out there. And it's going to be very expensive if we do. And if we do, it's got to be fully extensive to the entire breadth of everything that's there.
It would affect a lot of the flow through the whole bay. And I was up in South Carolina, and they had an island, a state park, and the island next door they hardened. Okay, made it concrete walls.
Mm-hmm.
The island where the state park is losing 30 feet a year. So they're losing the whole brunt.
Yeah. There is always, it's so dangerous to put drones in. And you can do it, but buddy, you better be ready to go all the way.
Well, and a lot of that is temporary. Even the beach renourishment we did at Shell Point, a lot of that's gone. A lot of that didn't.
Well, and Ochlockonee River could shift tomorrow and start heading back south, and we'll start accreting. You know what I mean? So you just don't know. You don't know what it's going to do.
Is the old cleanup, David, as far as you can remember, I know this has been going on for this long, but is the old pier cleanup part of FEMA's plan also, or is
That should have been, if we would have been aware of it, I wasn't made aware of it until this past year. We would have cleaned that up after the storm, but that's just something we got to get in when we do clean up. At some point, we'll get in and take care of that. There's stuff all in the marshes from everything, so not just our pier. There's boats, and not there, but in other places, boats.
Every coastal cleanup.
Yeah, it's up two dumpsters, all kinds of stuff.
Very good. All right, we have a motion to conduct the public hearing and accept public comments. Any further discussion on the motion on the table?
Did we get a motion?
We never got a motion.
To accept.
I think we did get a motion, didn't we?
I don't know.
We never
I
did?
just made one.
We have a motion now. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimous. We'll go to public hearing, item number 27.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request for the board's approval to conduct a public hearing and consider an ordinance amending Chapter 5 of the Land Development Code pertaining to zoning district regulations. This proposed amendment would adjust the principal and conditional uses within the following zoning categories: C2 general commercial, C3 heavy commercial, HIC high intensity commercial, and LIC low intensity commercial. This was a directive of the board back in August. The Planning Commission considered this proposed ordinance at their last Their meeting last Monday night, October 9th, and recommended approval. They also made a secondary recommendation for some design criteria to also be included, which has been outlined in your agenda item. This would be the first of 2 public hearings before you this evening. The next public hearing is advertised to take place on November 6th of this year. Staff is recommending option 1 to conduct the public hearing this evening.
Motion to approve option 1. Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Citizens? None? Discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. That ends our public hearing, planning and zoning, item number 28.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an application for a change of zoning, R2314. This application is requesting approval for a change of zoning from CO to LDR on a parcel of about 2.3 acres of land located at 142 Wakulla Street. In accordance with Section 24.01 of the code, each commission member needs to disclose any contacts he may have received from any interested parties regarding this application.
None. I spoke with Marcia Tucker.
I spoke with Marcia Tucker.
None.
If there's anyone here who's going to provide any information regarding this application, please stand up to be sworn. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, this application for change of zoning requests rezoning from commercial office to low-density residential on just under 2.5 acres of land at 142 O'Clockney Street. This would allow for the construction of 1 additional single-family dwelling.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second, any citizens? Discussion from the board? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimous. That ends our planning and zoning items. Commissioner agenda items, we'll go to Commissioner Nichols.
Yes, sir. Hang on just a second. I'm requesting the board approval for a letter to Governor Ron DeSantis requesting unlimited bear hunt in Wakulla County.
Motion to, for discussion, first. So you're making the motion? Yep. Fred, you want to second it?
Yeah, I'll second.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with this, as long as it's something that we can do, like the gator hunts for gator tags and stuff like that. I've talked to, several different people in Franklin and all that. Everybody's having the exact same issues, that we're having. And I've gotten 1 call, about it, but I've gotten probably 100 for it, so, for it. So I think, obviously, FWC is going to make this decision, but the governor does make the appointment to FWC. So motion to approve. We got a motion and a second. Any citizens? Further discussion from the board?
Yes. So, being well-knowledged in this area, I don't have a real problem with approving a hunt, but my problem is the letter. And so I readjusted the letter to address my concern. And basically, it's just the last paragraph. I felt that the message against them, rural, urban, was inappropriate. And,
You said the last paragraph?
last paragraph.
The North American Model of Wildlife Conservation.
Basically, in North America, we've had this model for conserving our wildlife, is that part of the conservation was about the hunt. And this is where we need to be focused this and not about rural urban complaints. This is an effective way to make people value the bears, and if you value something, you tend to protect it. And that's where we're at. I can also say from experience that when we stopped the bear hunt in '95, I went from seeing 0 bears to very quickly starting to see bears because they lost the fear of people.
Mm-hmm.
And so, a dog hunt, a limited dog hunt with tags like gators where you buy a tag, you get that 1 bear.
No problem with it.
Okay, that will make sense and can actually improve and reduce the conflicts between humans and bears.
Absolutely.
So that I can buy off on, but I can't buy off on what they did last time with a bear hunt, which was just
Open the door.
That's the reason I put traditional bear hunt with hounds.
traditional bear hunt might affect their behavior, and that's the goal we need to set.
Absolutely.
But we also need to, the other part of the reason I have the original bear hunt, I was against it, is because we had no idea what the population was. We didn't have an effective way to monitor it. Now we do. We can do DNA analysis, do mark recapture. Basically, you find out if you're hitting the same bear again and again.
And not only that, this will help too, if we can get a hunt approved. It will help with keeping up with them. So,
It's basically, there's positive things that can come out of this, but it needs to be monitored to make sure that we're not damaging our bear populations. We want to change their behavior, not get rid of them.
With our motion in a second, you good with his?
I'm good with it. I'm good with this letter, motion with to it. I'm fine with that.
If you take the adjusted letter, I will.
I'm good with that, Chuck.
yeah, I have no problem with it, Chuck. I just wanted to ask Fred if he wanted to have a workshop with FWC on the bear management plan.
I don't think they would want
Okay.
one of us.
And then, I was curious, and this is, I'm fine with it, so I was curious about, why are we going straight to the governor instead of to FWC? Is that because of rhetoric, or is that because of what Liberty County has been doing, or Franklin, or?
My understanding is that FWC would like for us to have a hunt, the biologist,
Okay.
and the governor appoints the commission that controls all of FWC, and I think that would be the place to go.
Okay, so are they, I just was curious, I mean, can we at least CC the chairman of FWC, Roger Brown?
I have no problem with it.
All right.
Probably need to hit our legislative delegate.
Yeah, I mean, the CCing of this.
And just so y'all know, we have talked with Mr. Schoaf and Mr. Simon.
Very good. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimous.
Thank you.
That ends our adoption, Chuck's amendment, right? Yes. Yes, okay, it did. That ends our commissioner agenda items. County attorney,
Nothing additional?
county administrator.
Yes, quickly on the golf course, we should be finished with grassing the 1st of November, first week in November, we could be finished quicker, but just due to the timing of keeping everything wet, so therefore we'll enter official growing in for the next 6 months after that. So
This little cold snap hasn't hurt us any?
it's not helped. Also, don't forget the library storybook walk is on the 28th. And also, our staff did a really good job at the OWL event this week. And also the Magnolia Wakulla Gardens Phase 3 and 4 septic and sewer projects are moving along in process. And I've also sent you guys an email about the wastewater treatment plant. We've trimmed the wastewater treatment plant bid from 29 million all the way to about 24. And we got another meeting to go. But we'll lose a few things, but we'll be able to get what we need, the core of it anyway. Anyway, that's all I've got.
Very good. Citizens to be heard? None for the second one. Discussion items. Chuck, you want to start us off?
None tonight.
None. Can I ask Chuck one thing? It was the 1st and 22nd of April, right?
Yes.
I mean, yes. Okay.
First and fourth Monday?
Yes.
Okay. I have nothing tonight.
I'd like to, talk to David about this earlier, Mike King. Obviously, right here by the courthouse, they can change them lights. I know it's DOT, but I'd like for us to send a letter to DOT to get them lights changed out and put a turn lanes are there, but there's no turn signal. And the traffic trying to get out, I've talked to several people trying to get out, and they're having to go through 2 or 3 lights before they can actually get out. They're not going to redo this intersection anytime soon. So all they have to do right now with what we have is to change out the lights and put a turn lane. So I would like for us to get a letter, send it to DOT, which, and I'm going to bring it up above the next meeting with Riddle. We talked about it last time about trying to get the lights changed out to get a turn lane.
Never hurt to ask.
Yep, don't hurt to ask for us to get together
It could come from the CST, CTSD, then you guys, and then, and they'll get it up,
I was
yes.
gonna bring it up this last meeting, but DOT was not there. So we had a kind of a short meeting, but it's on for us to try to get it right there.
Attend your meetings?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Are you talking about an additional turn lane, or are you talking about a turn light, a turn signal?
Yeah, the turn lane's already there. I know they were trying to wait to obtain some more property, but they can from what I'm being told, I'm not an engineer, but somebody said they can restripe that and put lights on there, and it will work the way it is right now if we got no more.
So there'll be 2 westbound lanes and 1
Yes.
eastbound?
But it will help this traffic right out here getting out, and it would, you already got them, north and south, but we need them east and west. I made the mistake the other day, and I've been getting calls, I made a mistake, I usually go across and hit my light, and I sat out there, and I'm like, okay, now I see what everybody's talking about. Because I like to know that got out, so, and it just happened for me to remind me for it, so I got some phone calls, we can do it.
I run straight down.
I do too. So, especially in the morning times, I got some phone calls, so I came over here and sat by the church in the morning time while I was school, and I'm like, okay. So I get it.
Good deal. Anything additional?
That's it.
Yes, sir, the same thing, Mike's already brought up the Martin Luther King and 319 intersection there with the turn signal. We need to get a caution light up at Cager Povey and Shadeville Road. We've had at least 3 or 4 accidents right there. They got another one on video just a couple days ago, where a guy with a vehicle swerved off the road to miss another vehicle there and went right in there. It hit a Humvee luckily, and it didn't hit the business. But if the Humvee wouldn't have been there, it would have went right on into the business. But we really need a caution light there. We really do. And the other thing, just what we bring up all the time and we get calls about all the time, some type of traffic calming device in some of these neighborhoods, if it ain't nothing but a yellow sign blinking that says slow down. But it's, the more we get, the more people we get, the more traffic we get. So we just want to make sure I keep bringing it up and keep it fresh on everybody's mind. That it's a big concern.
And we do have a process for people who may not know for speed bumps to, go out and do a study.
85% off.
Yeah.
Goes to the CTS.
Yeah, and that's, yes, sir.
And I hadn't had a chance. I talked to David today. Once we do the realignment and everything with the roundabout, we're going to be looking at the same time to put common devices on Songbird.
I think it should warrant it, because it's heavily trafficked now, for sure.
Yes, sir.
That roundabout's only affecting the south side of the intersection there. It's not getting into those residences that are right there on the corner of Songbird. Is that true?
Yeah.
And they are working on Moneymaker right now.
That was part of your agenda, actually, was to approve that right-of-way acquisition. Yeah.
Very good. Anything additional?
Yes, sir.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All righty. Thank you all for coming out and participating tonight.